anyone I fell out with, this is how it works. This is the operation. So anyone I fell out with, anyone who had contact with me from when I was a child, this group will contact him. Tax, you saw recently, so basically, I come into Wood Hill Prison for a civil offence. For a civil offence, you go home. You don't get 18 months in prison.
I thought I knew everything about Tommy Robinson's story after years of following him, but I just uncovered something that completely blew my mind. What if I told you the BBC and a charity funded by George Soros were paying people to ruin his life? Stay tuned, because this will leave you questioning everything you know about free speech and media manipulation.
That is the equivalent in the UK of Hope Not Hate.
Got it.
So Hope Not Hate received George Soros funding. Their job. You don't need laws to prohibit free speech.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Imagine finding out that behind the scenes, influential organizations might be moving chess pieces to take you down. That's the core of what Tommy Robinson claims happened to him. According to Robinson, the BBC's investigative program, Panorama, joined forces with Hope Not Hate, a group he describes as politically motivated, to launch a coordinated smear campaign designed to destroy his reputation. More than just attacks on his public persona, Robinson alleges this involved calculated efforts to recruit people from his past to turn against him.
With any influence or education or anything, they find out where they work, they contact their HR departments, they stifle free speech by attacking, smearing and lying.
The spotlight falls largely on Hope Not Hate, which Robinson claims is funded by billionaire activist George Soros. This group, as he tells it, contacted his former employees, offering them money in exchange for damaging information about him. These weren't casual conversations either. The accusations took a darker turn when Robinson suggested that some of these individuals faced pressure, even hints of blackmail, if they didn't cooperate. He describes how this reached people closest to his operations, leveraging strained personal dynamics to gather ammunition against him. The details he revealed paint a troubling picture.
Anyone I fell out with, this is how it works. This is the operation. So anyone I fell out with, anyone who had contact with me from when I was a child, this group will contact him.
Robinson suggests they were fishing for anything scandalous, accounts of financial mismanagement, workplace grievances, or even unverified rumors about his private life. The goal? To craft a narrative solid enough and damning enough to serve as a broadcast-ready takedown of his character. All of this, he argues, was carefully orchestrated by Panorama, a program known for shaping public perceptions on controversial figures through in-depth investigations. It's worth pausing to consider the implications of this claim. Media programs like Panorama come with a heavy burden. Their output influences how millions see the world. Stories as explosive as this bring up pointed questions about journalistic standards. How far is too far in exposing public figures, and at what point does investigative work turn into character assassination? BBC and Hope Not Hate, for their part, have denied any wrongdoings, with the BBC affirming its commitment to editorial impartiality, while Hope Not Hate dismissed his allegations as baseless. Robinson didn't stop there. In a dramatic twist, he launched his own counterattack. He sent a covert operative to secretly record Panorama's lead journalist, John Sweeney. But what exactly did these recordings reveal?
So I sent a girl to wear a covert camera into Panorama. The head of Panorama's name was John Sweeney. This man was the biggest face of the BBC.
Stay tuned. Things are about to get even more chaotic. What happens when someone fights back against a system they believe is set up to destroy them? Tommy Robinson chose to flip the script. In response to what he claimed was a smear campaign by the BBC's Panorama and Hope Not Hate, Robinson sent an undercover operative to record John Sweeney, Panorama's lead journalist, hoping to expose bias or unethical practices behind the scenes. This wasn't an impulsive move. Robinson and his team meticulously planned the operation, viewing it as their chance to reveal what they saw as the true motivations behind the BBC's efforts to discredit him.
I see that Panorama are working on a piece against me. So I ring and I then make a documentary.
The covert recordings, Robinson believed, would highlight not just personal attacks, but deliberate strategies designed to damage his reputation on a broader scale. They sought to unearth proof of manipulation, not only targeting Robinson but shaping narratives against figures seen as controversial. The recordings themselves, when revealed, sent shockwaves through Robinson's audience. In these tapes, Sweeney allegedly discussed how best to frame Robinson in their program, including ideas that Robinson described as ridiculous, like attempting to portray him as a sexual figure to appeal to lurid media interests.
And I get him on camera saying that they're going to make me into a sexual figure. They're going to make me Harvey Weinstein. Yeah.
While the full context of the comments remains debated, Robinson's supporters saw this as clear evidence of a coordinated hit piece in the making. This maneuver raises serious ethical concerns. The act of secretly recording a journalist, especially one working on an investigative report, treads a fine line. Supporters of Robinson's approach argued that it leveled the playing field, shedding light on potential abuses of media power. Critics, however, questioned whether secretly taping Sweeney crossed a boundary, potentially undermining legitimate journalistic processes. Once the recordings were made public, Robinson took things a step further. He compiled the footage into his own counter-documentary, framing it as a takedown of media hypocrisy. It quickly gained traction online but faced swift backlash. Major platforms like Facebook and YouTube banned the documentary, citing policy violations.
Shows how the scale of Tommy Robinson's silencing on all social media platforms and in the mainstream media.
For Robinson, this was more than censorship. It was proof, he claimed, of a broader attempt to silence dissent. Barely had the controversy begun to spread when Robinson's rearrest made headlines, cementing his narrative of being targeted. This only makes you wonder, are these events an isolated case or a symptom of something much bigger? This story isn't just about Tommy Robinson, it's about exposing the cracks in media credibility and how power dynamics can shape public perception.
Tact, you saw recently, so basically, I come into Wood Hill Prison for a civil offence. For a civil offence, you go home. You don't get 18 months in prison.
Probably make you think about the government, the agenda, and when they try to silence people that stand up against the establishment.
Robinson's allegations against Panorama and Hope Not Hate paint a troubling picture of manipulation, where investigative journalism risks becoming a tool for targeted campaigns. With claims of paid sources, edited narratives, and questionable motivations, the trust many place in mainstream media is called into question. If Robinson truly has all the receipts to back his claims, the implications extend far beyond his case. Watch his full documentary, examine the evidence yourself, and consider what it reveals about free speech today.